Alright, double checking to see if we're live.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm
We are
dead.
live. Hello and welcome to This Date in History. Pardon me, aka TDH. This show is all about the events that occurred today in years past, both recognized by actual historians, but mainly things that we personally find intriguing enough for us to bring to you. The sources of this information comes from the smart device application Today in History. What happened today in history?
A historical calendar.
And the website onthisday.com. For links to those sources, the music you're hearing, and anything we gather throughout the show, check the link below. I am once again Aozander, and I am joined by.
Some asshole.
And.
And Senior Lunkenstein.
Anyway, on with the show. Today is Phrase Day, aka Friday, February 11th, 2022. Starting it off today at the year 660 BC, that's before Christ, not British Columbia. To date is the traditional date for the foundation of Japan by Emperor Jimmu. Interesting.
Oh. The other version of Jimmy.
Yeah.
And in 55, Tiberius Claudius Caesar Britannicus, heir to the Roman Empire, died under mysterious circumstances on the eve of his coming of age, clearing the way for Nero to become emperor, and a fucking asshole at that too.
Yeah. Something tells me it's obvious murder right there. That was an assassination. Mysterious circumstances, my rear end.
Yeah, I remember I used to rip CDs with Nero.
What?
I don't know if anyone could remember that far back.
Nero? What do you mean? Are you talking about, like, was he an artist?
No, it was just some software that let you rip CDs.
Oh,
That let you
okay.
copy CDs.
Alright. Moving on up to 951, Guo Wei, a court official, led a military coup and declared himself emperor of the new later Zhao.
Damn.
That's an interesting name. I'm gonna try to.
Yes, it is. Emperor Zell.
Yep.
Also, in 1534, Henry VIII of England was recognized as supreme head of the Church of England.
Yeah, isn't he the guy who started it so that way he could divorce his
Yes.
wife and all that stuff?
Yes, he did. He's the inventor of divorce.
Well, modern day divorce and everything, and making it an acceptable thing. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I don't know what people don't get. Till death do you part, through good and bad. You make that
Well,
vow. Like, your word is your bond, and if you can't honor your word, even if the marriage doesn't work, you made that promise, and if you can't handle
Well-
it, then you're lesser. You're a lesser person for not being able
Well,
to handle your own word. Okay.
Well,
So-
there's some people that do understand that. There was a dude in Turkey the other day that was walking around with his cousin's head that he was married to. He chopped off her head and was walking
Oh
around
yeah,
with it.
yeah, oh yeah. I saw that from Salty Cracker. Yeah, the honor killing or whatever, like it's called. Like,
Yeah.
so stupid. So absolutely stupid. Moving on up to 1584, a naval expedition led by Pedro Sarmiento de Gamboa founded Nombre de Jesus, the first of two short-lived Spanish settlements in the Strait of Magellan. Interesting.
To the Strait of Magellan.
Yep.
Damn. Also, in 1586, Sir Francis Drake with the English force captured and occupied the Spanish colonial port of Cartagena de Indias for 2 months, eventually to obtain ransom and booty. Ooh, see, he got some booty.
Oh boy. Man, dude, I was thinking
That
the same
man-
thing.
That man went there for some booty.
Moving on up to 1659. Oh, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead, man. I'll take the next one.
Okay, 1659, the assault on Copenhagen by Swedish forces was beaten back with heavy losses. So, yeah, a battle
All
for
right.
Copenhagen.
1794, the first session of the United States Senate opened to the public. Not the first session ever, but the first for the public.
I believe, because when it comes to things like this, wording gets very confusing.
Yeah.
So first session of the Senate? Okay, first U.S. Senate was March 4th, 1789, which was way before this. So, yeah, it wasn't
Right.
the first session of the Senate, but it was the first one that they opened the doors for the public to view as well. So,
Right.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Also, in 1808, Jesse fell burnt at Darkside on a open grate as an experiment in heating homes with coal.
Now, anthracite is a type of coal. It's also known as hard coal, black coal, etc. It's a hard, compact variety of coal that is a submetallic luster. It has the highest carbon content, the fewest impurities, and the highest energy density of all types of coal, and it is the highest ranking of coals. Interesting. If you would like to know more about anthracite, I'm going to post a link to this in the underbar. But before I do, I will take us up to 1812. Massachusetts Governor Gilbert Gerry was accused of gerrymandering for the first time. So let's see here. What does gerrymandering even mean?
It means redistricting. I think of like in a state, you redistrict areas in order to get more seats in the House or in the Senate. I mean.
I believe you're correct because here it says in representative democracies, gerrymandering refers to political manipulation of electoral district boundaries with the intent of creating undue advantage for a party or group or socio-economic class with the constituency, whatever. Two principal tactics are used in gerrymandering, cracking and packing. So I'm going to add this to the underbar real quick, and then I'm going to also add the link to the wiki for gerrymandering, if anybody would like to educate themselves further on this political maneuver.
Yeah, they're trying to do that right now. I mean, every what's it called, political party does that when they're in power. So it doesn't even matter. It just matters who votes,
Now, this is the first instance of, or the first case of gerrymandering. What may be the first use of the term to describe the redistricting of another state occurred in the Federal Republic on October 12th, 1812. So this was before that. So yeah, this is the first ever. So there we go.
Yeah, man. They've been doing it ever since.
Dang. What happened in 1823?
In
Around.
1820.
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
go ahead. No, you continue. I'll do the next one.
Around 110 boys were killed during a stampede at the Covenant of the Minori Osservanti in Valletta, Malta. This is known as the Carnival Tragedy in 1823.
Dang. A bunch of, 110 kids, boys, trampled to death. Awful.
Yeah,
that's a lot of people, too. Can you imagine how many?
Yeah.
You've seen that? Wow. That was a good one.
Yeah, it was. Also, in 1856, the Kingdom of Aldora was annexed by the British East India Company, and Wajid Ali Shahid, the king of Adrai, was deposed.
Yeah, like a company did this. Like, this is how powerful that company was. They were doing the work of nation states, empires and all that stuff. Like, at one point, does a company or a corporation become too big for its britches? Like look at what things like Facebook, Google, Twitter, YouTube, and all that stuff. Do to the political spectrum. Like the power these corporations, wield is insurmountable and needs to be stopped.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
But moving on up to 1858, Bernadette Soubirous' first vision of the Blessed Virgin Mary occurred in Lourdes, France.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Always interesting with history, man.
Yeah, there's
Especially statues.
there's a lot of documented cases of people like seeing Jesus or seeing the Virgin Mary or seeing something, like remember like that whole thing about like what's her face like when she and her brother were told three secrets or something, and like
Yeah.
one of them was like the outbreak of the First World War. The second one was like the economic collapse, of the Great Depression, and then I think the third one was was withheld, and it was like the secret of like humanity is going to go into the atomic age or something. I don't know, but it's really interesting. Things like that, happen throughout all the time, and then just a generation or two, things are like that are forgotten, and then you got to dig it back up, and it's just like, you know, it's impossible for any one person to really know everything, but we don't even have it easily accessible, honestly, and it's a real shame the amount of lost knowledge, and technology, information, and not just
Yeah.
that, but all the stuff, locked up behind closed walls in the Vatican archives.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Also, in 1861, the United States House of Representatives unanimously passed the resolution guaranteeing non-interference with slavery in any state. Fuck them.
Well, see, here's the thing. It was a real delicate balance involving the Civil War, and like I saw this thing not too long ago about like Abraham Lincoln. He didn't want to make slavery be the focus of the war because like many northern companies relied on slavery, unfortunately, too. Like they didn't have slave labor in the northern states, but they relied on southern cotton for the textile mills and everything, the supply chain. And so they were. It was more of a. It was more of a like like I don't remember, but like it did evolve into a war of rights. Like about like pro-slavery and anti-slavery and stuff like that. But it didn't start off that way. It was a lot more political, and they needed the people's backing, and you know, like the majority of people wouldn't back it if they would be financially hurt, which they would have been at the very beginning. So it was a real delicate way of handling things.
yeah, nobody understands that. Also, that the U.S. just made a small percentage of the slave trade. Um, it was going more towards like South America rather than the U.S.
Oh yeah, I mean yeah, like the majority of slaves in the U.S. it was all about cotton and everything, but I mean don't forget about all the sugar plantations in Cuba and everything, like the chocolate, like all these other you know tropical Caribbean like crops and whatnot. Like it was Central and South America that was huge.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, but you never hear people talking about that if the U.S. is evil.
Yeah, well, that's just because of
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. That's the only
That's
reason.
just because of brainwashing.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on up
Alright.
to 1873, King Amadeo I of Spain abdicated, forming the First Spanish Republic.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh shit.
Gotta figure
Over.
out how to.
I'll do 1889.
All right.
1889, the Meiji Constitution of Japan was adopted. That's something uh like that I know about. Like, that's when they started banning swords and all kinds of stuff.
Well, not just that, but they were trying to like Japan up until about that time was, and they still are like heavily, traditionalist, heavily, cultural and all that stuff, and their culture up till that time revolved around the samurai and everything, and the rest of the world was modernizing, and they were like at that point about 100 years in the past, and they realized if they were going to like continue to be their own country in the future, they're going to have to keep up with everybody else. Traditionalists, that's what I'm talking about, being traditionalists. Like at some
Well,
point
yeah,
they got to give up their tradition, and embrace, modernity. And there was
yeah,
a whole
yeah,
thing like
yeah. During that era, didn't they started opening up shipping and stuff to
yeah,
from the West?
that's another thing. Like like not only were they like cut off from advancement, but culturally, like they were in their own little bubble. Like they had no exports, no imports. They had no diplomatic relations. They were essentially like the old timey North Korea. You know, like
Yeah,
nothing in, nothing out. This is us. But I mean, the only difference is North Korea actually like understands technology and embraces it. Whereas old Japan didn't. There's actually a whole thing like the Last Samurai or something where like a whole battle between like the old versus new, and like all these
Yeah.
hundreds of samurai just got mercilessly gunned down, by these machine
yeah.
guns and everything. Like, you know, but the Meiji Constitution was the Constitution of the Empire of Japan, which was proclaimed on February 11th, 1889, and remained in force between November 29th, 1890, and May 2nd, 1947. So after the Second World War. So this lasted a while. But yeah, no, like I'm gonna put a link to this in the underbar here for anybody who wants to learn more about the Meiji Constitution. It's a big step for Japan. A big step.
Yeah. Okay.
Moving up to 1906, Pope Pius X published the encyclical Vehementer Nos, which, let me look that up real quick. Vehementer Nos. It was a papal encyclical promulgated by Pope, yada yada. He denounced the French law on the separation of the churches and the state enacted 2 months earlier. So yeah, I think I remember talking about this during a previous show. Interesting. Mr. Stone, you want to take the next one here?
Yeah. In 1919, Friedrich Ebert, SPD, aka Social Democratic Party of Germany, was elected president of Germany.
Yep, Social Democratic. Like, it wasn't just a funny mustache man who got in that way. So they had to have it. Then again, so did we. So. Moving up to 1929, the Kingdom of Italy and the Vatican signed the Lateran Treaty. I wonder what that is. The Lateran Treaty was one component of the Lateran Pacts of 1929, agreements between the Kingdom of Italy under King Victor Emmanuel III and the Holy See under Pope Pius XI to settle the long-standing Roman question. What was the Roman question? The Roman question was a dispute regarding the temporal power of the popes as rulers of a civil territory in the context of the Italian Risorgimento. It ended with the Lateran Pacts between King Victor Emmanuel III of Italy and Pope Pius XI in 1929. All right, interesting. I'm going to post links to these in the underbar. I noticed I've been doing a lot of talking. I am sorry. I don't mean to hog the mic here.
I ain't worried about that. Keep talking. Inform us.
Alright, well, I'm posting links in the underbar to all of these. If anybody is interested in this stuff.
Alright. 1919. Frederick Ebert.
I think
Yeah, I did that
we're
one.
in 1937.
Okay. In 1937, the Flint sit-down strike ended with the government motors recognized in the United Auto Workers Trade Union.
That sounds like something in Detroit, well, Michigan.
Let me
Yeah,
see here.
Flint, Michigan.
Yeah, Flint, Michigan. Yeah. We know about Flint.
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
right.
drink the water.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Reminds me of
y'all
that
know
song.
about Flint, but do y'all know about Larry Flint? Wink, wink.
Oh yeah.
Who's Larry Flint?
Hustler,
Oh.
Yeah.
the founder of Hustler magazine.
Oh, God.
Yeah, they had a movie about him too.
He versus Larry Flint. Woody Harrelson played him.
Mr.
Yeah.
Sowen, you haven't had one in a little bit. What happened in
I
1938
did.
here? You did?
But I'm gonna do 1938. In 1938, BBC Television produced world's first ever science fiction program in the adaptation of a section of Carol Carey's play R.U.R. that coined the term robot.
Yeah. Yeah, robot has only been around as a term for like, what, 70 some odd years? 80, 90 actually? Yeah, more like 90, 80, 90 years. Yeah, it's like, it means like a slave or servant or something, like an autonomous, you know. Moving on up to 1953, U.S. President Dwight D. Eisenhower denied all appeals for clemency for Julius and Ethel Rosenberg. What did they do?
They were caught in McCarthyism as spies.
Oh. Okay, so what is this? They were,
They were caught as spies.
yeah, U.S. citizens who were convicted of spying on behalf of the Soviet Union. Okay. Well, I'm going to add this to the underbar for anyone interested. At this rate, we're going to run out of room. We only have like 5,000 characters. We're at 700 already. Interesting.
You can't execute somebody named Ethel.
Yes, you can.
Or Ethel.
Yes, you can.
You can go get her. I'm dead. Uh-oh.
We should do an Ethel side.
She'll make you a pie.
That's a side.
Sure. Pies are illegal. Moving on up to, we also in 1953, Israeli-Soviet relations were severed. And isn't that, like, you know, when the Soviet Union started, like, doing things in the Middle East and whatnot with their AKs and shit? Like,
Yes,
I don't
it
know,
is.
in Iraq and
I'm
Iran.
pretty sure they would have never gotten along anyway, since they were executing Jews in War II.
Yeah. In 1959, the Federation of Arab Emirates of the South was created as a protectorate of the United Kingdom. So even after like World War II, after we were like, hey, no more, you know, no more colonies and all that crap. You know, the Europeans still do that. We still do that. You know, like what do you think Puerto Rico and the Philippines are? You know, so
Yeah, pretty much. Like they haven't stopped taking strategic land to this day.
Yep. Who wants 1970 here?
I'll take it.
Next,
Go ahead, man.
Japan launched Osumi, becoming the fourth nation to put an object into orbit.
Into orbit?
Using its own boosters.
Yeah.
Oh man.
As in, they built their own booster. They didn't use another country, so completely independent in spacecraft.
Yeah,
launch, which is a
that's
good.
crazy.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah, all I think all the countries need to start sending things into space in order to remove all the mess that they made too, though.
Yeah, we got to start cleaning that up. You know, like
Yeah.
before we lock ourselves out, because because it's rocket science is hard enough as is. Like, you probably noticed, like, that rocket launches and all that stuff. We don't have them randomly throughout the year. There's only certain times. Like, for example, if you want to get to the moon, you don't just be like, okay, the moon's here, we're here, just launch straight up. No, you gotta launch this way and use the Earth's gravity and the sun's gravity and the moon's gravity and slingshot and go around, go up here, and then, like, intercept the moon, because by the time you get to it, when you launch, the moon's here. When you get to it, it's over here. Like, now we gotta, like, dodge all these thousands of satellites and other crap that's up there. Like, the booster stages for the Saturn V, so we went to the moon. A lot of shit like that is still floating around up there. Like, we
Yeah.
are in serious trouble, and people don't realize it. Like,
I'm I'm telling you, robots are the answer for that. Just get some robots just to float that shit over to the sun.
yeah. Well, speaking of robots and whatnot, moving on up to 1971, the Seabed Arms Control Treaty, which outlaws nuclear weapons on the ocean for an international waters, or ocean floor in international waters, opened for signature. So, speaking of, like, robots to deal with things, we gotta use those to deal with nuclear problems as well. But certain
Yeah.
radiations, like, they tried to do that with Chernobyl, and they can
Oh,
only survive up to certain voltagen or whatever that is, you know.
yeah, the robots just they couldn't even get, like, they couldn't even get close to the
Because
reactor.
it just couldn't get past the reactor 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moving on up to 1979, the Iranian Revolution established an Islamic theocracy under the leadership of Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini.
Ayatollah.
Ayatollah. Ah. Something cool happened in 1990. Somebody talk about it.
Sure. In 1990, Buster Douglas, a 42-1 underdog, knocked out Mike Tyson in 10 rounds Tokyo. Oh, in 10 rounds at Tokyo to win boxing the world heavyweight title. Yes, he did.
That is pretty cool in itself too. I was mainly talking about when Nelson Mandela was released from Victor Verster prison outside of Cape Town, South Africa, after spending 27 years as a political prisoner.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, the Buster Douglas thing.
The Mandela effect. Like, some people remember that he died
In prison. Yeah. No, the Mandela effect is a real thing. I seriously believe that maybe, maybe we don't spend our entire lives in one dimension. Maybe everybody throughout their existence just slips the temporal field into somewhere else, because this has been something that's been going on for a long time, and it's only gotten popularity with, like, Nelson Mandela and all that shit. But there's a lot of cases, throughout, all of history, especially with, like, contradictory things, old versus new, stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Moving on up to 1997, Space Shuttle Discovery was launched on a mission to service the Hubble Space Telescope. I remember when they first launched that, they had miscalculated one of the giant mirrors, and everything was out of focus.
Yeah, they basically gave it some glasses.
Yeah.
They put a device to correct it, because once it got into space, it was a different shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on up 2 years after that, in 1999, Pluto crossed Neptune's orbit, ending a nearly 20-year period when it was closer to the Sun than the gas giant. Pluto is not expected to interact with this orbit again until the year 2231. Cool.
Also, in 2001, a Dutch programmer launched the Anna Kournikova virus, infecting millions of emails via a fake photo of the tennis star.
Yep. This is around the time where people didn't know, don't click on random shit in the emails. Don't even open random emails. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. People are still figuring
We'll
that
be right
out.
back. Nature calls.
Have a blast. Moving up to 2008, rebel East Timorese soldiers seriously wounded President Jose Ramos Horta. However, Alfredo Riondo, the leader or a leader of the rebellion, was killed during this attack.
What rebellion is that?
Uh, well, let's see here. Uh, East Timorese. Let me just East Timorese rebellion. Rebellion of that's 1911, 2008. Let's see here. Free centuries and violence. Okay, so this was like during their independence from 2002 to 2008. But East Timor. Okay, so that's just north of Australia. Um, during all of these islands areas over here. But no, they've been struggling since 1726. So 1726 till 2008 was constant conflicts, wars, strifes, shit like that. Interesting.
That's quite a while.
Yeah.
I guess.
I'm going to add this into the underbar here. While I'm doing this, would you mind talking about what happened in 2011?
Alright, 2011, during the Arab Spring, the first wave of the Egyptian revolution culminated in the resignation of Hosni Mubarak and the transfer of power to the Supreme Military Council after 17 days of protests.
Yep. Yet another, government exchange of power and whatnot.
Yeah.
Speaking of exchanging powers, moving on up 2 years to 2013, the Vatican confirmed that Pope Benedict XXVI would resign the papacy as a result of his advanced age. That's a cop-out. You can't quit being the voice of God. Like, what is this crap?
He was like, hey, Jesus, can I get a break?
Jesus is on the cross. No. I didn't get one. Also, 2013, militants claiming to be from the Sultanate of Sulu invaded Lahad Datu district, Sabah, Malaysia, beginning the Lahad Datu standoff.
I've never even heard of any of that.
Let me look this up real quick.
How's the standoff?
It was also known as the Lahad Datu incursion, or Operation Daulat, was a military conflict that started February 11th, 2013, and fully ended on March 24th of that year. So, yeah, this lasted for quite some time. If anybody would like to educate themselves more about this particular event in history, once again, I'm adding it to the underbar. Let's move on up to 2015. A university student was murdered while she resisted an attempted rape in Turkey, sparking nationwide protests and public outcry against harassment and violence against females. Yeah, I mean, that would cause it,
Yeah. Like there's like places like Iran and stuff like that too, like places in the Middle East, they used to actually be more westernized before. They used to be able to actually wear, like clothing that didn't cover them, it was like they got to wear mini skirts and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yep, until a bunch of extremists took over.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us about 2016 here?
Alright, 2016, a man murdered 6 people with a gun at an education center in Jizan province of Saudi Arabia.
See, as I told you, the United States isn't the only country with mass shootings. We might have the most of them, but we're not the only ones. Moving on up 365 more days, 2017, North Korea test-fired a ballistic missile across the Sea of Japan. I remember that.
Yeah, me too. Japan was pissed.
Yeah, I don't blame them. You know, it's an
Like,
act of violence. That's a threat.
yeah,
So
I think they sent ships out uh, towards North Korea after that.
I think so too. Like, hey, you're gonna fire missiles at us? What the fuck, dude? Like, well, before we go into births and deaths, any articles here? Reach out and grab you.
The Meiji one was good for me. I like that one.
That
I
is
like
interesting.
talking about Japan history. I'm really a huge anime fan.
Not just that, but like this was a traditional date for the foundation of Japan as well. Remember in 660 BC?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we're gonna title this and revolve it around Japan. Anyway, moving on up to births. In 1380, we have Bracciolini, an Italian scholar and translator. 1657, Bernard La Bouvier de Fontenelle, a French poet and playwright. 1776, Ioannis Kapodistriatis, a Greek politician who was the first governor of Greece. In 1800, we have Henry Fox Talbot, an English photographer and politician who invented the calotype. What is a calotype?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck is that?
Calotype or Talbotype is an early photographic process introduced in 1841 by William Henry Fox Talbot using paper coated with silver iodide. Paper texture effects in calotype photography limit the ability of this early process to record low contrast details and textures. So it's early photograph stuff. I will put this
shit.
in the
Is
underbar.
is that what they used to do? Like literally print shit onto metal?
Um, well, like they didn't print it on the metal, but like when they take a picture, like it exposes the thing to the lights, and it does like a copy of what it's seeing. And early times, it used to be like on like metal plates and everything. Um,
Yeah.
like I think this is the type of photograph like they had in the western. Like remember the guy with the big old camera and then like the shit with the powder, the you know, like
Yeah.
that was essentially a flash. Like that was a flash to light it up to get as much exposure, to the
Oh, I
subject of the
see.
photography to be imprinted onto like the metal plate and everything.
I got it.
As far as I know, I'm no professor of photography, so I'm mainly talking out of my rear end with this. I added I added the link to this in the underbar here for anyone who's interested. Moving on up to 1802, we have Lydia Murray Child, a U.S. journalist, author, and activist. 1812, Alexander H. Stevens, an American lawyer and politician who was vice president of the Confederate States of America. I never knew who was a vice president of that. Like, obviously they had one, and that's who they was. 1847, Thomas Edison, a U.S. engineer and businessman who stole countless inventions from many people, like the light bulb and phonograph. 1869, Helen Kroller-Muller, a German-Dutch art collector and philanthropist who founded the Kroller-Muller Museum. Moving on up to 1900, we have Ellen Bro, a Danish nurse who pioneered nursing education. 2 years later, Arne Jacobsen was born in 1902, a Danish architect who designed the Radisson Blue Royal Hotel. And I gotta take a look at how that looks. Let's see here. Images. That cannot be it. Died today in 1902. Um,
Yeah, the Radisson still exists. They're it'll be hard to find, I guess.
I mean, I guess it might have been like rebuilt. Well, here, let me look up his name. Arne Jacobsen. Well, I guess this is it. Yeah, just a straight up concrete block. Okay, what? How uninspired. Anyway, moving on up to 1926, we have Leslie Nielsen, Canadian U.S. actor and producer. You know him in like he was in Airplane. He was in Hot Shots.
Yeah.
That's the one with Police Squad, right? Hot Shots and Hard Shots Part 2 and all that stuff. 1936 we
Yeah.
have. Sorry?
Go ahead.
Oh,
No,
1936.
no, go ahead.
1936 we have Burt Reynolds, a U.S. director and actor. We know who that is. 1944 Mike Oxley, a U.S. lawyer and politician. It's an interesting name. 1953 Jeb Bush, a U.S. banker and politician who was the 43rd governor of Florida, brother of George W. Bush, son of George H.W. Bush. So, 1962 we have.
Yeah, Trump smashed him.
Yeah. 1962, we have Sheryl Crow, a U.S. singer, songwriter, and guitarist. 1964, we have Sarah Palin, a U.S. politician who was the 9th governor of Alaska. I remember her.
Yeah, she messed up by saying she could see Russia through her window.
Yeah. Stupid.
Yeah.
5 years
Otherwise,
after.
she was cool.
5 years after
Go
that,
on.
in 1969, Jennifer Aniston was born on this date in history. She was a U.S. actress and producer. Well, she still is, I assume. 1979, Damian Lewis, English actor. I think he was Bobby Axelrod from Billions. I'm not sure. He kind of looks like him. Let me look him up real quick. Damian Lewis. Yeah, that's definitely Bobby Axelrod. Yeah. Just gonna double check. Yeah. Yep, that's the same guy. And last but not least, 1998, Khalid, a U.S. singer and songwriter. Is this DJ Khalid?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Khalid Donnell Robinson.
Not. He's a singer who made the song Young, Dumb, and Broke.
Ah,
I'm back.
welcome back. Perfect timing to take on the death section.
Good, because my stomach had a battle royale.
Yeah, you were gone for a while. I wasn't sure if you were going to come back.
I'm back. And in deaths, we have Britannicus, Roman son of Claudius.
What year did he die?
In 55.
Ah,
And in 1755, we have Francisco Scapone Ortiz de Maffei, Italian archaeologist, playwright, and critic. You want to do one?
no, I did all of the verse. I'm good.
Oh, I did. Oh,
would-
so yeah, you do one. Choose Poppy.
Yeah, 1898, Felix Maria Soluga, Mexican general, the unconstitutional interim president.
Damn, unconstitutional. See, you said it better than I would, because I would have said 1989.
Yeah.
1998.
You can't even read it right when you're trying to read it wrong.
Yeah, okay. Also, in 1913, we have Charles Sloan Parsons, Irish engineer who invented the steam turbine.
I think you're a little off with your 1913 right there.
Yeah, 1913. Yeah. 1913 is going fast.
No, it's 31.
1931.
God.
Not yet. 1931.
That's all good, man.
Yeah.
Or,
Also, in 2000, we have Peter Benchley, U.S. artist, screenwriter. Hopefully, he made Charles.
I think he made Jaws because the picture showed him, like, yeah, this is the picture I saw right here. Yeah, author and co-screenwriter, Jaws. Yeah, yep. Yeah, he's known for his best-selling novel Jaws and co-wrote its film adaptation with Carl Gottlieb. All right.
Carl Goblin. It's a goblin.
The Goblin. We have one more death.
And 2012, we have Whitney Houston, producer and actress.
And a singer-songwriter.
Look, yeah, singer-songwriter.
Yep.
Well, we should all know that.
Yep.
You can do whatever you want for her, but you can't take away her dignity.
Yep. And that concludes the show. Once again, check the underbar for any links you may be interested in. For your dose of past events daily, we stream every day, although the time currently right now is kind of just up in the air. So that's why we are now the Mystery History Show. When do we stream? Yes. Anyway, we have other places for you to go venture and check out. Right as Sohan disconnects. You can find Sohan on his Twitch at Sohan TV. The link will be in the underbar. He does also have a YouTube, but I gotta post that in the underbar as well at some point. I gotta remember that. Anyway, for all of you and all of us, I am Xander.
Yeah, I'm just some guy that pops in.
Yep. And Sohan was here. He might be here again any second. But anyway, until tomorrow, you'll see us then. Toodles!